Hey guys, Infiniti here, and I want to talk about spontaneous detox and what that is, because I was on the Jason Ellis show yesterday on Sirius XM, and quite frankly, I wasn't sure if we were actually going to keep that spot because he had posted on social media over the weekend, the last few days, that he was really, really sick. And I thought, are we going to still be able to go there on Tuesday? And so we did. And I knew before I went there that what was going on with him was a spontaneous detox. And it was a lot of fun going to, I'll just say this real quick, it was a lot of fun going to Sirius and being in studio with Jason and his guys there. It was a little difficult getting concise, packaged up messages out there because there was so much happening in the conversation. We kept veering off in way different places, which is good and bad because, one, there was a lot of different things that we touched on, but two, there was a lot of loose ends left untied. So and that always kind of bothers me because it leaves a lot of questions like what's what and what's this, and especially when you're talking to people who don't know about a lot of this stuff, it keeps a lot of things from coming out, I guess you could say. So one of the big things was what we talked about was energy, negative energy, the fact that he's getting more positive and all this stuff. But we really didn't talk about how this all works. And I know for the bulk of you listening to this, you probably didn't hear me on the Jason Ellis show. So what I want to talk about is how we transmute energy naturally without being aware of it. And one of those things is a spontaneous detox. And so what happens is throughout our lives, we doesn't matter who we are as a human being, whether you're an empath or not, and most people are not empaths. So the population of people that are empaths are 10 to 12, 15% maybe of the total population of the world. Which, side note, the idea that we have like 7 or 8 billion people on the planet is actually not true. Just so you guys know. Not that many people in the world. So again, side note. Okay, so there's a small population of empaths, but the greater population are not empaths. So I just want to make that clear. Number one, you do not need to be an empath to have this type of thing happen to you, and happen to you often in your lifetime. And that was one of the big topics I wanted to talk to Jason about, was how he is an empath but doesn't know it. Just like so many other people. We talked about him being a healer, but not really about him being an empath. And those two things really go together a lot of the time. Okay, so what happens to a person throughout our lifetime is that we take on energies. We take on positive energies and negative energies. Unfortunately, the ones that really stick and cause problems and dissonance within the body would be the negative energies, of course. So negatively charged energy or entities that are on or within the body, the physical body, the body field, and of course the energetic body. And so what goes on is that you fill up, you accumulate. It's like let's just call it like your body is a vacuum cleaner, and it fills up and fills up and fills up and fills up as you go about your day and your life, and the good and the bad and the ugly, whatever happens in between, right? You're out in the world, you have relationships, you have interactions, if you're an adult, you have sex with people, you have your work, your job, just everything that goes on. But even as children, this happens. We have an accumulation of energy that once it gets to a full state, and if you're not actively keeping your vessel, your body, your physical body, your energetic body, in alignment and clean, and your chakras not blocked and all this shit, then what happens is you're going to fill up with energy that is not healthy for the body to maintain, and it needs to go somewhere. And so what happens is we kind of fill up, and then we crack. The body says, I literally cannot take this anymore. So we'll either get really, really tired, have to spend a few days in bed, maybe you just feel really drained, that sort of thing, whether you're an empath or not, but more so if you're an empath and you haven't been regulating. Or it might get really serious, and it could be though that 1 or 2 times a year that it just gets pretty gnarly and you get really sick, something called the flu or a really bad cold. And these are times when there isn't anything bacterial, there isn't an infection of any kind. You're just sick. You're sick energetically. You're sick physically, but really, truly, you're sick energetically. But it's coming out in a physical way because your body has to deal with it somehow. And so what happens is that your different chakras, from your root chakra to your third eye chakra, starts to emit these pulses that causes the physical body and all the organs and everything around those energetic systems to start working in a way where they're all emitting the same pulse at the same time, and they're saying basically, yeah, detox. Let's just detox. It's just this pulse. Detox, because you're toxic and we need to detox you. It's a spontaneous detox, just like I said in the beginning of this video. It is something that your body decides to do that is outside of your conscious awareness, because it is best for you to transmute these energies. And if you're not going to do it in a conscious way, through energy work and alignment of your chakras in different ways that we can do that, or having a procedure done like I do, which is getting in and really cleaning out and clearing out your energetic system, your body's going to do it for you. So these pulses start happening. They tell your body, detox. And so this is why when we have especially a flu, it affects our entire body. We will get this stuff in the head, right? So the headache, the pressure in the head, the sinuses, the stuffy nose, the runny nose, all that shit that happens in your head, your throat chakra with your sore throat, in your chest with your heart chakra with coughing, mucus in your lungs, this sort of thing. We go down into your gut with your solar plexus chakra, with, possibly diarrhea going on, with a lot of, the shits, the runs, that sort of thing. And that goes all the way down to your root chakra, cleaning you out from the bottom up. And then as this is happening, of course, it's a shock to the system. Your whole system is going, is having this like literal dump. And your entire body could get very achy. So hence the body aches, the tiredness, the fatigue, the problems from the butt up. And there you have it. You have your spontaneous detox that can last for several days. The first time that this happened to me was a few years ago, and it tends to happen to people as they're really big dumps, like the really big dump. For a person I've identified is somewhere within their awakening process, there's like this point of no return. This like, are you stepping through into the other side where your mind, body, and soul is going to go places that it has never been before? And if you're on that timeline and that trajectory, it says, yep, you're going to go there, and we absolutely cannot have all this extra shit attached to us. So we're going to dump it before we cross through these thresholds so we can manage these new energies in a better way. And you can assimilate to your new timeline, new structure within your universe that you're going into now. And in order to be able to assimilate and acclimate and regulate to the energies of your new timeline, we must dump. We must dump. So that's what happens. And that is precisely what was going on with Jason. It was just really hard to get there and wrap that whole thing around and really tie a bow on it when we were talking, because there was so much going on. Again, so this is something that was on my mind, for anybody who's listening, who's a new subscriber to me, who saw me or heard me on the Jason Ellis show, that this is something that I wanted to talk about, because we literally started the show with him going, sorry, I'm sick. I can't touch you. Don't get near me. And I said, no, I don't think you're really not sick. Like, you can't get me sick, because I've already done my dumping, and my body's not going to go, hey, I'm in close proximity to you, and you're going through a cleaning, and now I need to. And this is why, in case anybody's asking or wondering, well, how is that if I get this dump flu detox thing, why within a few days or a week, so does my wife, and then so does my kid, and then pretty soon it's gone around the whole family? Well, I'll tell you why. Because much like a yawn, when I yawn, it's because my brain is saying, oh shit, I need some air up here. I need some oxygen in my brain. I'm feeling a little dumbed down. I'm tired. Yawn. Get some oxygen in the brain. And then my friend who's sitting right next to me sees me yawn and goes, yawn. She yawns because I'm yawning, and my brain is getting smarter in that moment and has more oxygen. And you just can't have that. You can't have me being smarter than you in that moment. So you're going to yawn. It's a biological, spontaneous thing. It's from it's an energetic response to a physical act that we do totally subconsciously, but that's what it is. And it's the same type of dynamic that happens when one body does a spontaneous detox, and then they're in constant and close proximity to other energetic bodies, and then if that energetic body is picking up on these pulses and says, it's time to dump, and that body has enough to dump, it will pick up on those pulses, and it too will dump. Because you have to understand, these energies are being emitted from you. And sure, colds and flus can be contagious, but not in the way that people think they are. If you're going to be in constant close contact and close proximity to somebody, and they need to dump, they will. Sorry, I don't know what other word to use besides dump. So I just use dump. Because that's what, to me, energetically, it looks like and feels like when somebody's going through this, is just a real serious dump thing that's going on. And so to answer that question right off the top, why do people have these, I get sick and then they get sick and then everybody gets sick, and you have to think about what happened, how you were feeling before that. Were you run down? Were you already tired? Was this leading up to this? Where is this coming from? A lot of times we're going to have there's also, I will touch on this. People will get sick on, during, or before big events in their lives. Or before, during, and after, I should say, big events in their lives. So such as, let's say, getting married, or moving, or starting a new job, or having a baby, things like that, like big events in your life. Sometimes this happens prior to meeting certain people in your life, and that's not something we can really quantify, but it's something that I've identified with people, that before coming into contact with certain timelines and people, like I kind of said before, there will be this energetic dump because that is the trajectory you're going on. But there's this other thing that happens that really is kind of outside of the scope of just you by yourself needing to dump. And it's more about what just this new thing that's going on in your life. You have to think about these big life changes. So, that happen. And so people go, wow, it really sucks. So-and-so got really sick right before they got married, or during their honeymoon, or right afterwards. It's because your body is like, there's this total shock to the system. There's something new happening that your body's like adjusting for energy. Same thing will happen like if there's a breakup. Same thing will happen, like I said, if you move, if you start a job, if you, just different things, just different big life things will happen where your body just goes, we're doing something totally new, and we have to have our energy system completely clear to do this in the proper way. So we're taking control of this situation and we're dumping. There is also the other thing that will happen where if they coincide together, you will also be triggered to have a dump. And this will be during Stargates, portals, that sort of thing. So sometimes these things actually coincide and people aren't aware of it. You'll have a big event coinciding with a Stargate. And just to touch on that really quickly, for those that don't know about Stargates, what that is every single month we have a few different portals or Stargates. We have one always at the very beginning of the month. So from the last day of the month, from the last day of the month through to the, that first whole 24 hours of the first of each month. And then depending on the month, we have our Stargate that takes us for 10 days every single month. So it starts with the first of the year at 1/1. We do it for 10 days. It lands us at 1/10. That is our Stargate. So let's fast forward to June. Our Stargate would be on 6/6 and it would go to 6/16. When we go to December, it would be on the 12th and would go to the 22nd. And so that's how that works throughout the whole year. So 1/1, 2/2, 3/3, 4/4, all the way up to 12/12. And so that will also happen too. There may be energetic dumps happening within Stargates, especially the big Stargates. So Stargates either like the 8/8 Stargate, the 11/11 Stargate, and then there's different Stargates throughout the year. So depending on what number of year we're at, it's like the bigger Stargates for that year. Coincidentally, that would be coming up here in a couple days. So today is 9/5. On 9/9, we have our portal opening. Our Stargate is opening. And so depending on our what's going on with all that, we can start to feel the energies and the effects of the push into the Stargate for a few days prior to the Stargate and a couple days after. But the most intense times are within the Stargate. This is when usually most things in our lives during the month, big changes, big decisions are typically happening within those 10 days of the Stargate. So if you chart and monitor your month in alignment with Stargates and in alignment with new moons and full moons, you'll see how things develop in your life at very particular times. No coincidence, you guys. As I said, nothing is a coincidence. Everything is purposeful and for a reason, including what happens with our bodies and how we handle Stargates, how we handle being too full of negative energy that can be pushed out of the body through spontaneous detox. And then always you have to think about, once you're out of that, you can think about how you felt prior to getting sick, and then how you're feeling after you're sick. And most people feel way, way better. They really think about it. They feel better when they're not sick anymore. And so they don't really think about, how was I feeling before I got sick? How was I feeling the week or two or the month before I got sick? What was my energy like? How was I sleeping? What was my digestion? Was I concentrating okay? Was my overall energy positive or negative? I guarantee you it'd probably be more negative than positive. If you're getting that there's something you're just holding on to too much. And especially as empaths who don't know that they're empaths, they have this problem big time. And they tend to be just having to deal with and cycle through more energy on a regular basis, because they are energetically sensitive and they're picking up to people's energies and they're holding on to that. We are having to, as empaths, especially when we don't know that we're empaths. And I really wish I would have been able to talk to Jason more about that, because that is a really big thing, kind of the message that I wanted to talk to him about, and we didn't do that one thing. Anyway, but as empaths, we definitely absorb, take on, and if we're not aware of who we and what we are and what we're doing energetically, we're kind of at the mercy of the environment and the best that our bodies can do for us while we're completely clueless and ignorant. And for some of us, that lasts a really long time before we start to understand who and what we are and how to work these bodies, these systems, these computers, and, everything in the right time, obviously. So hopefully this has given you a little bit of insight into this thing. And then I guess the question is, what do you do about it? What do you do about it? Well, you keep yourself energetically cleaned out the best as you can. You keep yourself in balance and in flow. You keep your chakras aligned and not blocked. You get energy work done. If not by me, then by somebody trusted, because it really is something that needs to be done. You also want to be careful with who you see as a healer, because not all healers are actually good for you. Not all healers are actually positively charged and actually helping your life force. Some healers are actually negatively charged and more taking your life force. And so you really, really need to be careful who you're going to. And I'm not saying that, this is like a bad person or anything, or bad people. These are people who themselves are not regulated properly, and they have negative energies that are not just working on themselves, or on their own body, but the bodies around them, and taking advantage of that, the association of people that they can be around to kind of extrapolate energy from. So I've heard of people going to different healers, massage therapists or energy healers or whatever, and feeling not good afterwards, or especially with massage therapists and things like this, where they are, or your body's really, really sore afterwards. I've had people be like, oh, wow, I've gone to this, I had some therapy done, and my body's super sore, and I'm so painful. It's got to really be working. And I'm like, no, that's really not good. You shouldn't go and get work done and feel like shit afterwards. You should feel way better. So if you go to somebody, if you go to a massage therapist or somebody like that, and you feel tired or sore or run down or just exhausted afterwards, please don't go back to that person, because that is an absolute indication that they're extrapolating and not the good stuff, they're extrapolating life force energy and not cycling through anything except for taking. So they're taking, not giving. So it's hard to know, I guess, but, follow your guidance, really feel into energy, go with who you trust. Of course, I would recommend myself. I will definitely make you feel better, and I absolutely can be trusted with your energy. So that's just a little disclaimer there for you guys to really, or a warning sign, whatever you want to call it, to really just not just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to go get some massage therapy, or I'm going to go to, get some energy work done and whatever. Not all healers are created the same. Not all healers are equal in their abilities or even their healing or how well they can help you. I mean, obviously, not everybody is created the same. So you got to really be careful with what you're doing and who you're going to and who you're seeing and who you're letting touch your body, who you're letting in your energetic body. So a little bit something of what we touched on. Jason asked me, how does Jesus feel about me having sex with all these people outside of marriage? And I'm like, well, it's not so much he cares about that, but you need to be careful about who you're commingling your energy with. That's the biggest thing you can do with a person energetically is commingle your energy with them sexually. And you do take on their energy. When you walk away, you're not done being connected. You're still physically you're still energetically connected, even though you're physically apart. Once you've commingled in that way, you are taking on energy. So that's also a problem if you're not regulating. But typically people who start to get cleaned out and really in tune with their own energy and want to keep that as, well run as possible and as healthy and as clear and as positively charged as possible will be extraordinarily choosy with who they're having sex with because of this reason and because of the energetic attachments afterwards. Or they're really, really working hard to keep their body as clean as possible, but it's kind of hard to walk in both lanes. And this isn't a judgment in any way. This is just kind of the way that it is. With people and their energy and sex and stuff, we tend to, as we get more spiritual, as we get more in tune with our bodies, as we get more in tune with our world and our universe and what's what about what, we realize that sex is great and sex is good and sex feels awesome, but when we're doing it with people that are not of a high vibration, when we're doing it with people who are lower vibration than us, when we're just doing it out of root chakra energy horniness, and we're really not in alignment with our whole system, that we're having this intimate relationship with them, even if it's for 20 minutes, that is I don't know if invasion's the right word, but it is an invasion to your energetic system. And if you're getting invaded in an energetic by something energetic that's way lower a vibration than what you're running at, it will affect you. Absolutely. And not only that, when you're having sex with this person who is of low vibe, then, and just right off the bat, you're going to go, well, how do I know? Well, if they're addicted to anything, drugs, alcohol, if they themselves have sex with a whole lot of people, if they have a lot of emotional problems, things like this, they're low energy. They're not low energy. They're low energy, negatively energy. Wow. Negative energy is definitely a part of their makeup and what's in their system and what you're tapping into. And so these are all things to think about when you're thinking about keeping your energetic system as healthy as possible. It is not, just a physical thing. It goes well beyond that in different ways, and it's something that most people are just not aware of. They just don't understand all of these below the surface reasons for why our bodies do things, especially if we're empaths. And that goes double time, you guys. If you're an empath, or if you think you might be an empath, and this is somebody who's sensitive to their environment and the people around them, you can go online and look up quizzes for empath. Am I an empath? And do a quiz. Answer the questions and see for yourself, are you an empath? And if you are, you have the responsibility to yourself and those around you to learn about what that is and to learn about how to take care of yourself as as like human 2.0. Okay, so regular human is 1.0, human 2.0 is the empath. And this is somebody who has an energetic system that is different from anybody else's or other people, because empaths have larger neurotransmitters in their body everywhere, and their electrical system is an upgrade from the regular electrical system, which is awesome. It can do a lot of really cool things and is very purposeful, and you're in that body for a reason. But if you aren't working the body in a specific way, then it can be a detriment to you. So it's important. It's very important to know, to recognize, to understand who and what you are, at least on that level. On that level, the physical level, the energetic level of an empath is extraordinarily important in your life. It absolutely was for me. Life-changing to figure these things out for myself, to go from ultra sick all my life because I didn't know what I was. I didn't know that I'm a physical empath too, so it's even more serious for somebody like me, which physical empaths are extremely rare, especially to the degree that I'm at. Most people are not, they don't feel in their body exactly what other people feel. Excuse me. They can't just touch a person, know what's going on. They can't, do these things that I do, but they're still being affected. So there's grades and levels to empaths, and, how sensitive you may be is kind of on that spectrum. But it's definitely, if you're a physical empath, and there are more people that are on the spectrum of physical empath that don't realize that too. They're that much more energetically sensitive than the regular empath, and definitely the regular human. So there are grades to that. And it really is your responsibility to know yourself. I think that goes without saying, right? It's really your responsibility to know who you are, what you are, and to work your life and your body in a way that is of optimal health and performance for you energetically. So you can, live a happy life. So you don't get these spontaneous detox that, they wreck you. The more that you keep yourself regulated energetically, the less you're going to experience fatigue, confusion, irritability, problems with your digestive system, a wackadoodle, maybe sex drive for men. If you have problems with erectile dysfunction in any way, that is a direct issue with energy in your root and sacral chakras. Women, same thing in different ways in that area. So there's, and we start with our energetic system at the root and the sacral chakras. So everything gets regulated from the ground up, and that is kind of where that starts. So another thing to think about. So I know this is a lot when it comes to this, but it's all very, very important. Number one, know about what it is to be sick, why you're sick. Is it a spontaneous detox? What's going on with you energetically? I would also recommend, if you have or if you are going through something like this, to consider having further energy work afterwards, just to kind of tie a bow on it and get yourself nice and really get through it. I really hope that Jason actually follows through with working with me, because that would really be the optimal situation for him as he's going through this. But in any event, hopefully this helped you out, understand this stuff just a little bit better, and and can just open your eyes to the fact that we don't just get colds and flu, especially when they're not actually any type of bacterial thing that we can actually take. Like, that's why you go to the doctor when you're really, really sick, and they go, sorry, you just got to get through it because I can't give you a pill for this. There's nothing going on that we need to, you don't have an infection. So you're just sick, like whatever that is, but that's what you are. So deal, take some symptom medicine. Oh, that's the other thing I want to say. Oh gosh, I'm glad I didn't forget this. When you're going through this, do your best not to take medicines for your symptoms, which I know you're going to want to, because that just helps you feel better, like Sudafed or whatever for your nose, so it's not constantly running, and whatever stuff for your cold, your chest, so you're not constantly coughing. It's kind of taking care of that mucus or whatever that is. You just be careful with what you're taking, because you want to let this stuff come out. You don't want to shut it down. That's the whole point of you getting sick like this, is to let this stuff fly. So do things in a natural way. Drink teas, keep yourself hydrated during these spontaneous detoxes. You are, is why they say drink lots of fluids when you're sick, because you're letting go of a lot of water in your body, through your butt, through your gut, through your nose and your mouth and all that stuff. You're just expelling a lot of fluids. So you want to do that, but you also really want to make sure that you're not putting in chemicals that are going to shut down these processes. Because it really goes against what your body's trying to do. It's trying to get rid of stuff. It's trying to transmute energies, and you're going, no, stop it. I don't want to feel this way. The more that you do that, the more it's going to, it'll come back in a month or two instead of 6 or a year. If you're taking stuff to keep that not doing what it needs to do. So avoid the over-the-counter symptom medicines that have a shitload of chemicals in them that is just going to further mess up your chakras and your energetic system. You don't want that to happen. So you want to go with the best way to handle this stuff. So there you go, guys. And yes, to answer any questions when it comes to children go through this too. Same thing. There's only so much their little bodies can handle, so they will get sick. Unfortunately, a lot of people, put their children on antibiotics and all this stuff and all these. And, this is why some children are always sick. So same thing. I'm not going to reiterate that. Same thing goes for the adult, goes for the child, except for they're even more absorbent to energy. As children, we are definitely more absorbent to energy. We just are. This is why children can get really sick off of each other really, really easily. They're still figuring out their systems and not quite regulated. So they're really energetically sensitive. But if you find yourself in that situation where your kids, your husband, your wife, or you and all your roommates, or, you and everybody at work is sick, this is why. It is because you're all in it together energetically, staying in close proximity, living lives that are very, pushed up against each other energetically, and that will affect the whole. Okay, guys. So thanks for listening. I hope that this helped. If you have any questions, please let me know. Also, please do the usual: comment, share, subscribe. Like if you do. I appreciate that. Get the word out about this stuff. It is important for people to understand what is a spontaneous detox, how to work through them, how to avoid them completely, and how to take better care of your energy on a day-to-day basis with who and what you're doing. It's really important energetically, and obviously to your mind and spirit too. So try to keep it high vibe. Stay away from energy vampires. Don't do things that are going to affect you and your flow, and do things that will keep you happy and healthy. Go outside, be in nature, connect with Gaia, connect with your spirit tribe, do some meditation, do some stretching. You don't have to do full-on yoga, but a lot of stretching is really, really good for you. Twisting is wonderful. A lot of twist. If you could do twist yoga, that's great for detox. if you're a yoga person, which I am, but haven't done it in a while because I really, quite frankly, don't have the space. That's something that Jason asked me, how often do you do yoga? And I said, I haven't done it in a few years. He's like, what? And we didn't get into it, but that's why. It's not because I don't like yoga. I do love yoga. But I just haven't done it because I live in a really small space. So, there really isn't places to go around here where I live in the mountains to go do yoga. So anyway, but if you can do yoga, if you could do twist and flow yoga, any type of Sean Corn actually has a wonderful series of twist and flow yoga, really low impact, really wonderful for your body, feels fantastic to do this twist and flow, really detoxes you, you'll lose weight, it's beautiful, it just naturally squeezes out toxins and this stuff, so it'll help you not get sick. So I definitely recommend that as well. So exercise is great and different types of exercise is really great for keeping your energy in balance. But even for people that are ultra, physically fit and work out all the time, this happens to them too. It really, those two things don't coincide. Just because you're an athlete, somebody that works out, doesn't mean that you don't get sick. I think everybody knows that, and there's a reason for that. So there you go. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Love you. Peace and blessings. Don't forget, or no, let me start that over. Infinite love and blessings. Don't forget, the key is to create. And I love you already. Bye, guys.